Hi everybody, I'm Charlie, and this is On Air, my Beatles collection. And with all the hubbub these days about ticket sales for Paul's upcoming leg of his Got Back tour, I thought I would harken back to a point about 35 years ago when he did the Paul McCartney World Tour. So this is a bootleg box set, vinyl, multi-disc vinyl, and I'll just walk you through it and get you in the mood for some live McCartney World Tour type stuff. First thing in there is this book. Everybody that attended the concert got this book free, which was almost unheard of in this day and age. Got a lot of nice, colorful stuff in it. It's about 90 some pages. So, it's pretty substantial. Here's a great picture of the band performing. So, you got Hamish Stewart playing lead guitar. Actually playing mostly bass, I think. Hamish was formerly of the Average White Band. And he's actually on tour now with Ringo, playing bass, and actually his contribution to the all-star effort is songs from the Average White Band days. Also in this band, Robbie McIntosh, obviously Paul and Linda, Wicks, Steadfast Wicks, has been around forever. He's still with the band, and he was with the band then, of course on keyboards. And Chris Whitten was the drummer for this particular tour. Chris was a pretty good drummer. I don't know how they transitioned over to Abe Laboriel over the years, and of course Hamish and Robbie are not playing guitar for the band anymore either. But this is the band of the time, and this would have been, I believe, 1989. So that's the booklet that's in this box. Then there's a little poster of Paul and Linda. It looks like this. Nice picture. I'm going to take the records out of the box, but before I do that, before I show you the records, I want to show you something inside the box, and that is there's a track list. Pause that if you want to go back and look at that, but I'll walk you through it. So there's 3 discs in here. So the first one, side A, is Figure of 8, Jet, Rough Ride, Got to Get You Into My Life, Band on the Run, Ebony and Ivory. That's the A side of disc 1. And the B side is We Got Married, Maybe I'm Amazed, The Long and Winding Road, Fool on the Hill. The second disc, the A side, or they call it the C side, is Sgt. Pepper, then Pepper Jam, and then the Sgt. Pepper Reprise, and then into Good Day Sunshine, Can't Buy Me Love, and Put It There. And then side D, or the B side of disc 2, is Things We Said Today, Eleanor Rigby, this one, My Brave Face, Back in the USSR, and I Saw Her Standing There. And then disc 3, the first side is 20 Flight Rock, Coming Up, Let It Be, Ain't That a Shame, and Live and Let Die. And then the last side of disc 3, second side, is Yesterday, Get Back, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and The End. So that's the track list for this set. Now, interestingly, for those of you who know me or have heard me here on the channel, I'm a sucker for box sets. I'm also a sucker for color vinyl. This set gives me a little bit of both. Obviously, it's a box set, but it's also 3 discs. The first disc, and I'll show you the actual disc. That's why I got the rubber gloves on. As you can see, it's very clean, shiny. You can see the label there. So the first disc is a deep dark black vinyl. think it's only been played once. Probably ripped it to a, digital format. The second disc, which is sides C and D, is on green vinyl. So it's kind of odd. Usually you don't get a mix of black vinyl and color vinyl. And go to the third disc, sides E and F, and we're back to black vinyl. So it's very well done. It sounds good. I mean, it's not studio mix. It is, I believe it is through the soundboard though. So I mean, it's not terrible sound. It's not somebody with a handheld cassette recorder up in the nosebleed seats. So it's pretty well done. And the thing that there's a lot of discussion about the pricing today for people trying to get tickets to see the current tour, and some people paid hundreds and some people paid thousands for the tickets. I think on this tour, you could pretty easily get a ticket for $35, something along those lines. I like to have these things. I like to have a lot of the live albums. Over the years, obviously, as we age, our voices change, and Paul is no exception. His voice has changed. There's still nothing at all quite at the level of Paul McCartney on tour, even at his current age. I saw him in Orlando in 2022, and yes, there's a little noise in his voice, so to speak, and there's some weak spots in his voice, but there's no feeling in the world like being there live and seeing Paul McCartney. I mean, the band is fabulous. The light show and the stage show is great. And, the audience sings every song, and it really helps and gives you a feeling of community. You're there with other Beatle fans, Paul McCartney fans, Wings fans. You're there with multiple generations. I'm probably in the oldest crowd because I'm a first generation Beatle fan. I was 10 in late 1964. I was 9 when the Beatles hit the U.S. shores in early 1964. I didn't get a chance to see the Beatles live, but I've seen Paul on every tour, starting with Wings Over America and since. And, talking about the voice, the voice has changed quite a bit over the years. And sometimes, I'm okay with where things are at now because he's still our Paul, and it's still a great experience to hear him and see him. But sometimes I like to go back and, listen to something from this era when he was at the peak of his vocal skills. And it was an exciting, breathtaking, chills up your spine kind of an experience then, as it is now, I'm sure, for people seeing him for the first time. But to listen to it and to go back and hear the power in his voice, the power of the music, the power of his presence, this kind of thing gives you a little bit of that. So I just thought, in light of the fact that there's a lot of noise this week about how much does it cost to see him, and is it worth it, and and other people saying, well, how long is he going to do this? This probably his last lap on tour. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We've said that before. So he's going to keep doing this as long as he can, and as long as he wants to. As far as the money goes, I'm not sure that the artist sets the price. There's this whole Ticketmaster thing with how they have dynamic pricing, and there's the resale stuff where the bootleggers, or whatever you call them, the scalpers, get in early. They buy up a lot of tickets, and then they sell them for triple and quadruple what the face value is. So there's all kinds of stuff going on, and if you want to see Paul, if you want to see Springsteen, if you want to see the Who, if you want to see any of the legacy bands, if you will, you're going to pay big money. even for nosebleed seats in a big arena, you're going to pay big money. There's a lot of people, making money on it. I don't need to defend Paul, but he's a billionaire. Paul doesn't do this for the money. Paul does this because he needs it. He likes it and he needs it. He's out there because this is his life. This is what he does. This is his work. This is his art. And this is what he has in here in his heart. So, if you have a chance, if you have the money, if you have a friend, if you have some way to go see him, I'd go see him. But if you can't go see him, there's a lot of McCartney live material, starting with, Wings Over America and, Paul is Live and Good Evening New York. And then there's bootlegs too. So I have all the things that I just mentioned, but I also like to listen to this kind of thing as well. It's got a little more of a feeling of You Are There. It doesn't sound like it was fixed up in the studio or, harmonies replaced or, mistakes, edited out. This is raw. It sounds good, but, it's not perfect. Like most live albums now, certainly most of his live albums are, they're touched up in the studio. You never get, the exact performance, from the show itself. So anyway, that's my Paul McCartney story and item for today. I've had many more, but I thought this week, given all the hubbub about ticket sales and all that, I would just harken back to a time when ticket sales were reasonable and the shows were great. And, I miss those days. And I won't be seeing Paul on this tour, but I did see him, 2 years ago. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I like going back and listening to... I like the songs from the era, which he doesn't play all these songs anymore. He was at the time promoting an album. So, he's going to play songs from that album. So anyway, you won't hear him play a lot of those songs that I mentioned anymore. Some of them are outside of his range now, but he doesn't seem to worry about that too much. But some of them are just, they're artifacts from, a time 35 years ago. Anyway, that's it for this particular show. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber yet, please hit the subscribe button as well. And I hope you're going to come back and see us soon. Take care. Bye.